In 1959, deep in the snowy Ural Mountains of Soviet Russia, 9 experienced hikers set out on a trek. None of them returned alive. Their bodies were later found scattered across the Dyatlov Pass in eerie and unexplained conditions, some half-dressed, others with fatal internal injuries, and one missing her tongue. What happened that night remains one of the most chilling and mysterious tragedies in modern history. This is the story of the Dyatlov Pass incident, a puzzle that has haunted investigators for over 6 decades. Today we will talk about the Dyatlov Pass incident. 9 explorers mysteriously died. So before we start, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe to my channel. The team of hikers. The group consisted of 8 men and 2 women, all between the ages of 20 and 38. However, one member, Yuri Yudin, fell ill shortly after the expedition began and returned home, a twist of fate that ultimately saved his life. The remaining 9 pressed onward, documenting their journey with journals and photographs. On February 1st, the group began to ascend toward Kholat Cycle, a mountain whose name translates from the local Mansi language as Dead Mountain. They set up camp on the mountain's slope, a decision that would prove fatal. When the group failed to send a telegram from Bizan, their last known checkpoint, concern grew, prompting a search party. What they found in the days that followed has puzzled the world ever since. The discovery of the camp. Searchers located the campsite on February 26. The tent was found partially collapsed and appeared to have been cut open from the inside, a detail that immediately raised alarm. The hikers' belongings, including warm clothing, boots, and survival gear, remained inside the tent, suggesting they had fled into the sub-zero temperatures without proper protection. Investigators discovered the first 2 bodies, Yuri Krivonishenko and Georgy Doroshenko, near a tree, stripped down to their underwear and barefoot, as though they had run in a panic. A makeshift fire had been attempted nearby. The tree above them showed signs of broken branches up to a considerable height, hinting that one or both of them may have climbed it either to escape something or to get a better view. The next set of bodies, the bodies of Igor Dyatlov, Sineta Kolmogorova, and Rustam Slobodin, were found between the tree and the tent, as if they were trying to return to the camp. Each showed signs of hypothermia and minor injuries, but no fatal wounds. Slobodin had a fractured skull, yet it appeared not to have been immediately life-threatening. For weeks, the remaining 4 bodies could not be found. It wasn't until May, after the snow began to thaw, that the final group, Lyudmila Dubanina, Semyon Zolotaryov, Alexander Kolevatov, and Nikolay Thibault-Brignals, was discovered in a ravine some 75 meters from the tree, partially buried beneath snow. Disturbing injuries and radiation clues. These last bodies were in a far more disturbing state. Dubanina was missing her tongue, eyes, and part of her facial tissue. Zolotaryov had major chest fractures, as did Thibault-Brignals, and the extent of internal damage to their ribs was likened by experts to the force of a car crash, but with no external wounds or signs of struggle. Some of the hikers' clothes showed traces of radioactivity, further deepening the mystery and fueling suspicions of military involvement or exposure to a radioactive source. The terrain itself showed strange characteristics, including areas where snow had melted unusually, and reports of orange spheres in the sky were documented by people living nearby on the night of the incident. The official Soviet investigation. The Soviet investigation concluded that a compelling natural force had caused the hikers' deaths but offered little else in terms of specifics. The case was closed and classified, with documents hidden for decades, further stirring speculation. Theories have ranged from the plausible to the fantastic. Some suggested that the group was caught in an avalanche, but experts argue that the slope was not steep enough and the tent remained visible, challenging the viability of this explanation. Others believe the hikers experienced a sudden panic due to infrasound, low frequency sound waves caused by wind conditions that can induce feelings of dread or disorientation. There is also speculation of secret military experiments, given the Cold War context, or perhaps encounters with local Mansi tribes, although there was no evidence of foul play by others. Theories and unanswered questions. One persistent theory involves the paradoxical behavior observed in hypothermia victims, where they begin removing their clothes in a phenomenon known as paradoxical undressing. Yet this does not explain the severe internal injuries suffered by some of the victims. Another theory suggests a katabatic wind, a sudden violent wind that could have created panic and forced the hikers to flee into the cold. In 2020, Russian authorities revisited the case and concluded that an avalanche was the most likely cause. However, this conclusion has not satisfied many researchers, especially given the lack of avalanche-related physical evidence and the nature of the injuries. Legacy of the Dyatlov Pass. The Dyatlov Pass incident remains one of the most perplexing and haunting mysteries in modern history. What drove 9 experienced hikers to tear out of their tent into brutal conditions? Why did some suffer injuries resembling high-impact trauma without external damage? What role, if any, did the radiation and unusual environmental clues play? Despite new investigations and advanced forensic tools, these questions continue to elude definitive answers. The pass itself was renamed Dyatlov Pass in honor of the expedition's leader, and a monument now stands to remember those who perished. If you like this video and would like to see more like it, please give it the thumbs up. Leave a comment and click the button to subscribe.